Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys what's for dinner this week, so stay tuned. Okay, so tonight for dinner I'm going to be making garbage plates. If you guys don't know what that is, it's really delicious. Typically you would use like home fries or southern style hash browns, I don't know. But I don't have any of those, I'm using french fries. And typically you can use regular burgers, but we're using black bean chipotle burgers. You can also make your own chili, but I'm cheating and using canned chili, and then your favorite pasta salad. And I will show you guys how I assemble this. I won't show you how I make it just because I don't think you really need to know how to make all this because it's pretty self-explanatory. But I'll show you how I assemble it and show you what goes on top. Okay, so I've already messed up. As you can see here, there's the veggie burger, and then I put the pasta salad on top. Next, I have added the fries. Next, I have added some of the chili. I didn't put a lot on there just because it's the fake stuff. I don't particularly care for the taste, but when it's all mixed together, it is nice to have that extra little bit of spice. Right, so here's the finished product. Oh, look at that. Doesn't that look good? Looks like garbage, right? So it is Sunday, and that is what's for dinner. Okay, so tonight I'm going to be making egg roll bowls. Now, these are super easy, and I'm going to be making mine with turkey. And here it is. So next I'm going to take 1/4 cup of soy sauce. Whoa, let me not dump it all over the place. I'm going to add that to the turkey. I'm going to stir that in. Next, I'm going to take 1/2 teaspoon of this ground ginger, and then I'm going to take a tablespoon of this minced garlic. So we're going to add that tablespoon of garlic. Next, I'm going to take about 1/2 bag of this tricolor deli coleslaw. Has green cabbage, carrots, and red cabbage. I'm going to add that to the turkey mixture and then cover it and cook on low or medium low, depending on how hardcore your oven is or your stove is, for about 5 minutes. And once you have all of the coleslaw mix on there, I'm going to add another 1/4 cup of soy sauce and another 1/2 teaspoon of the ginger. So this is what it looks like. As you can see, the cabbage is soft, the carrots and the purple cabbage are there, and I will show you the finished product. I like to add a little bit more of the raw coleslaw on the top and add a little bit more soy sauce if needed, but this is so good. Alright guys, so that's the finished product. I added a little bit extra coleslaw mix on top, give it a little crunch. Got my peace tea, about to grub. Monday night, and that's what's for dinner. Okay, so tonight I'm going to be making some of this chicken fried rice, and I'm also going to be making some homemade egg drop soup. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking two of these chicken bouillon cubes, and I'm going to add it to some boiling water. So next I'm going to be taking 2 tablespoons of this onion salt from Trader Joe's, and I'm going to add that to the mixture. Next I'm going to take about a teaspoon of ground ginger and a teaspoon of garlic powder. So I'm going to take a pinch of cornstarch and a pinch of black pepper. Now you're going to want to stir this and get it, circulating. As it spins, you're going to pour in your egg, and it will cook as soon as it hits the broth. Okay, so here is the chicken fried rice in all its glory, and the delicious homemade egg drop soup. And it's Wednesday night, and that's what's for dinner. Okay, so tonight we're going to be having some New York strip steaks. I took some of this extra virgin olive oil, and I brushed it on there like so. And then I took some of this 21 seasoning salute from Trader Joe's, and I sprinkled it on both sides, and then I pop in that sucker in the air fryer. Sprinkle it with some of this onion salt, and then I'm going to roast it on 450 for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then I'm going to check them to see if they're tender. Okay guys, so this is the dinner. I ended up pairing it with that medley that I got from Trader Joe's. It's like peas, carrot, it's like peas, zucchini, green beans, and broccoli. And I overcooked the steak. So anyway, it is Thursday night, and that's what's for dinner. Okay, so this night I'm going to be making cube steak in the air fryer. So I have pepper, salt, some milk, some panko breadcrumbs, garlic powder, and the 21 seasoning salute. So first I'm going to take the milk and pour it into this plate. I know that sounds weird, but the plate actually holds up the liquid pretty well. And then I'm going to take a little bit of pepper. I gave it about 10 shakes. And then I'm going to do the same with the salt. And you can use regular salt. You don't have to use the Himalayan pink salt. Okay, so next I'm going to grab one of the cube steak fillets, and I'm going to put it into the mixture of milk. And you want to do both sides, and you want to make sure it's coated very well. And then I'm going to take another plate and put the panko breadcrumbs. Now I'm going to take the cube steak and put it into the breadcrumbs. You want to coat it on both sides. And then I'm going to add some of that seasoning that I showed you guys to both sides. And now I'm adding the garlic. And you can do this to taste. There's no measurement for it. And then I'm going to place it into the air fryer and cook it. Okay, so I paired this with some green beans and some macaroni and cheese, and that's what's for dinner. Okay, so on this night I decided to try the Pioneer Woman Sloppy Joe recipe. Now, her recipe does call for ground beef, but as you can see here, I decided to use ground turkey, which is what I had on hand. It came out really good, so definitely use whatever you have on hand. If you prefer ground turkey, it is definitely doable with ground turkey. So while that turkey is browning, you're going to take a bell pepper. You can use any color bell pepper. In my opinion, the recipe calls for green, but as you can see here, I'm using orange. And since I am splitting this recipe in half, I'm going to be using half of a bell pepper for 1 pound of ground turkey. So I'm going to take this bell pepper and I'm going to dice it into fine little cubes. if you are doing the full recipe, then you will use the whole pepper. The recipe also calls for half of an onion, so I'm going to be using a fourth of an onion. And you're going to want to dice that very finely. So I'm going to be using my onion chopper, and I'm going to chop up a fourth of an onion. Next, you're going to want to get some minced garlic. The recipe calls for a tablespoon, and I actually ended up using a tablespoon because I do like a lot of garlic. So does my husband. The recipe says to use at your discretion, so you can definitely use more or you can definitely use less. So you're going to add in the garlic, the peppers and the onions, and you're also going to add in a tablespoon of butter, which I am doing here. And then you're going to let this simmer for just a few minutes. Next, you're going to put in about half a cup of ketchup. As you can see here, I'm not measuring anything out. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. And then you're going to mix that in. Then you're going to take about a teaspoon of chili powder. I actually end up adding more chili powder later because I like it and I wanted it to taste more like chili powder. And then you're going to let that simmer. Next, you're going to add just a tiny amount of mustard. The recipe actually calls for ground mustard, which I know is totally different from regular mustard, but this is what I had on hand, so I decided just to incorporate it. And it also calls for brown sugar, which I did not have on hand, so it said I could substitute regular sugar, granulated sugar, and agave syrup. So I'm just putting about a tablespoon of sugar, and I'm literally doing like 3 or 4 drops of the agave. You're just going to mix that all together. Add about half a cup of water. I turn it up on medium and let it simmer. After you get that stirred in and let it simmer, you're going to add tomato paste. The recipe calls for about a tablespoon. So I use about 2/3 of a tablespoon, which I think is, not exactly sure. I don't do math very well. Next, I'm adding in the Worcestershire sauce. This is also to taste, so if you like Worcestershire, you can add more. If you don't care for it as much, you can add less. Now I'm going to add some pepper and some salt. And here comes the extra chili powder. Again, you can opt out of that if you don't like chili powder as much. And this is the finished product. This was such a delicious meal. As you can see, we paired it with fries, and it was just so good. Check out my Walmart Chick-fil-A sauce over there in the corner. I also topped it with some shredded cheese. Alright, y'all, that's what's for dinner. Thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, leave me a comment, and I will catch y'all in my next one. Thanks. See you later.